Hey everybody, welcome to Squat Pot Sports. We're bringing our thoughts on the latest games and sports news around the sports world, brought to you by the Sideline Sports Network. Season finale, and did not disappoint for the NFL this week, everybody. Yeah. Did not. There's some upsets here. There's a lot of crazy games, especially the last game of the season was a banger. We'll talk about that. So of course we'll talk about that. The super wild card weekend predictions coming up this weekend. A lot of good games. The NBA hot and not list, that's a weekly thing, as well as our bias bubble and crazy sports stat fact of the podcast. So hopping right into it, man. Last week, the season finale, man, did not disappoint here. I mean, the first couple games, I mean, we're all right.
They were
on
good
Saturday.
games.
The Chiefs one was
other
was
than
better.
The second game, right? The first game was a good game. The second game was a little bit more of a slaughter fest, but it started off pretty good.
Yeah, the first half was all right, but that second half took a drastic turn.
But the first game here.
Yeah, the Chiefs and the Broncos. We both predicted the Chiefs on this one.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was actually a pretty good game overall. It wasn't a blowout or anything like that.
It was. Melvin Gordon ended up having a great game as well. So that's still a bright spot for the Broncos. But the Chiefs go, with the loss to the Bengals last week, this one here against the Broncos kind of helps them going into the playoffs with a little bit of momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. Drew Lock there, 12-24, 162, 0 touchdown, 0 interception. You said Melvin Gordon, man, 110 and a touchdown rushing. Patrick, 95 receiving. Patrick Mahomes, 270 yards. He threw it 44 times, 2 touchdowns as well, no interceptions. He also led in rushing with 54 yards. Pat Mahomes out here doing it all.
And I don't know what's up with Tyreek Hill. I don't know if he's hurt or what, but he had 1 reception for 2 yards.
I feel like he just did that a couple weeks ago, too. What is going on here?
I don't know. We'll see what happens going forward, but he was non-existent that game.
Yeah, McCole Hardman, though, led in receiving for the Chiefs, 103 yards, no touchdown. Mm-hmm. Kelsey had the touchdown there, and McKinnon also receiving.
Right. Good game overall for the Chiefs. Good win. Finish the season 12-5.
Yeah, rolling into the playoffs with a dub. The Saturday night game, the Eagles and the Cowboys, did not go as expected because I was not expecting the Dallas Cowboys to play their starters for the whole game.
I picked Dallas.
I was not aware of this at all. Eagles, they didn't have, other than Jason Kelsey, they didn't have a single starter out there really at all on offense
Dallas
or defense.
Ran wild with it the whole time. Dak Prescott out here throwing 5 touchdowns.
Well, it was kind of going touchdown for touchdown for the first half. Yeah, and that second half, it got out of hand. Dallas was, they were focused on beating the Eagles. That was their Super Bowl for the season. They're going to go into lose these 49ers this week. It's okay.
I don't know.
Something to be proud of, though. But anyway, yeah, the Cowboys, Dak, he passed Tony Romo's touchdown record on the season. Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
Tony
I'm
Romo
sure that was also part of having them in as well.
Right. Maybe they were trying to make sure he extends it and gets there. But that's a pretty cool record to have. Tony Romo is definitely a legend. Even though they didn't really accomplish anything, he's definitely a well-known Cowboy.
Yeah. So. He ended up 21-27, 295 yards, 5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns.
Zeke had 87 yards, no touchdowns. And Corey Clement, he had 58 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And he also had a receiving touchdown as well. On the Eagles, though, Gardner Minshew got the start. He looked all right the first half, but man, that second half, they did not look well at all. He had an interception there. He's 19-33, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns in that pick. Mm-hmm. Kenneth Gainwell led in receiving, 78 yards and a touchdown. The rookie, Quez Watkins, led in receiving, 84 yards and a touchdown. Was not enough to get it done for them birds. They facing a high-powered Dallas offense.
Yeah, it was a down week, missing a lot of pieces. It wasn't really full strength.
It didn't matter in the end. It didn't really affect the Cowboys winning, and it didn't affect the Eagles at all losing. We still had the 7th seed we already clinched the playoffs.
Right,
hence
exactly.
why they didn't play anybody.
Exactly.
But yeah, rolling into Sunday, you picked the Cowboys in that. That was a smart pick. I picked the Birds just because I didn't really know what was going to happen.
I got lucky. I just had a feeling.
The Sunday games here, starting off with the Bengals and the Browns. Did we both pick the Browns? I picked the Bengals on this one. I forget what my picks were.
We both picked the Bengals. Yep.
Both picked the Bengals. Yeah, they ended up losing 21-16 to the Brownies. Case Keenum at the start there.
Yeah, and Brandon Allen getting the start in Cincinnati there. And, Jamar Chase played a little bit, but it was kind of just backups type of thing there, So
yeah,
wasn't
similar
really surprising
situation
for the Browns backups to end up squeaking that out there, but they ended up doing it. I was surprised. We both picked Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean, Case Keenum, 176 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick there. Chubb, he had 58 on the game for they pulled him. Jarvis Landry had 75 yards and a touchdown as well. The Bengals, Allen only had 136 passing yards and a touchdown, no picks. Jamar Chase, like you said, he only had 26 yards, no touchdown before pulling him. But yeah, I mean, this was also a game that didn't really matter for both teams whenever it came down to it.
Just kind of like almost like getting game tape for future weeks for Cincinnati and for next year for Cleveland.
Yeah. The next game here, Green Bay versus the Lions. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers was in it for a little bit of the game before he pulled himself there. And then, I mean, the Lions able to get another dub on the season. They ended up with 3 wins.
Definitely surprising. I'm not gonna lie. We both picked Green Bay in this one. I thought even
they gave them a game.
Right. I thought even a second string Green Bay was gonna be able to take care of Detroit here. But Jared Goff did his thing, only 9 incompletions, went out there and of course another game by St. Brown with over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. This dude is gonna be a monster in the future. So it was a good win by the Lions there.
Guaranteed. And you also had what's his name? Khalif Raymond. I had to look up the name here. Yeah, he had 100 yards and a touchdown as well. Right, 51 and a touchdown. On the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, he ended up 14-18. That's even the little bit you saw him, efficient football. 14-18. 138, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, before coming out. Jordan Love, he ended up 10 of 17, still efficient. So 134 yards, a touchdown, but 2 picks, not efficient.
2 picks. That's where it comes down to. Kept giving the ball up.
A.J. Dillon, he had 63 yards, no touchdown rushing. Lazard led in receiving 75 and 2 touchdowns for them Packers. But, they locked up that 1 seed. Didn't really matter. I mean, Aaron Rodgers didn't even have to play if he didn't want to.
He just kind of wanted to stay loose, get out there, play a little bit. He got out of it without an injury, so that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the Lions end up with three wins in their season there. A lot better than what people thought. They thought it was going to be 0-17 for a minute.
1 win less than the Giants.
Surprise, surprise.
I don't know how the Giants won 4 games.
Going to the next game here, the Bears and the Vikings. At the time of these picks, I'm pretty sure you picked the Bears, I picked the Vikings, but we thought Justin Fields was going to play. He was announced that he was going to start, and then COVID, bam, on the list. Andy Dalton's getting a start.
Exactly. So Minnesota, you picked Minnesota. I picked Chicago. I took the L on this one here. Like you said, I really based it off of I just thought Chicago was overall going to win this game. It seemed like Minnesota's been reeling almost.
Yeah.
But hey, they ended up firing their coach anyway after a win. So both these teams fired their coaches actually, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get to that. But yeah, that's true. And both of them are not in the playoffs. So yeah,
both of y'all not in the playoffs.
Didn't really
both y'all
matter.
For a head coach. So sorry guys.
Kirk Cousins 14-22, 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks there. Dalvin Cook had 79 yards, no touchdown. Justin Jefferson 107 yards and a touchdown there.
Mm-hmm.
And Smith Marset also had 103 yards and a touchdown there. Andy Dalton, though, he had 2 interceptions, but he was 33 of 48. They had him throwing 48 times for 325 yards. Also a touchdown.
Right. He did have a ton of yards. He's definitely still a gunslinger in the league. It's just they need to get a new regime in there. We'll see what happens next year. I don't know if Andy Dalton will be sticking around. It's probably going to be a Justin Fields show.
It's going to be Justin Fields. And maybe Nick Foles, depending on who slides in there at the head coaching spot.
They might even keep him. Yeah, I know. They might even keep him as backup, depending on the head coach. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's true. David Montgomery, 72 yards rushing. Mooney led in receiving 126 yards, no touchdowns. Man, I mean, what's going on Allen Robinson on these Bears? Like, he's been non-existent this season.
I don't know, man.
It's crazy.
He's just trying
He
to
needs
get
to
out of
find a
there.
new home.
Just trying to get out of there.
Get out of there, man. But yeah, I picked the Vikings. You picked the Bears on this one. Going into the next one, Washington and the Giants. We both picked Washington in this one for good reason.
Yeah.
And it proved it enough when you saw these Giants going for doing a QB sneak on 3rd and 9. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
What are you doing? And they're one of the few teams that did it.
They weren't even in the red zone. They were on their own side of the field.
Ridiculous. They did 2 in a row, right?
I think so. But like, bro,
6 in a row. One of them on 3rd and 9. Ridiculous.
Another team that's looking for a head coach right now.
I have nothing really to say about this because we've been talking about it for weeks. Like, the Giants are terrible. Even
Absolutely
Washington
terrible.
has been straight bad the last couple of weeks, and Washington hung up 22 points on them. So this just doesn't surprise me at all. Antonio Gibson had a great game, 146 and a touchdown. That's good, you know what I mean? But
yeah, and McLaurin as well, 93 yards there. Heineke, he was 9 of 18, 120 yards, no touchdown, no interceptions. But man, Jake Fromm is bad. 15 of 31, 103 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. He also led in rushing with 53 rushing yards.
I mean, that's the only bright spot, but you still don't want him leading the league leading the team in rushing, you know, when you got Barkley.
Yeah,
Is
not
Barkley
at all.
Even playing?
Yeah, he had let me go back to the Giants here. He had 30 yards, 11 carries for 30 yards.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. But once again, another game didn't really matter in the end of it. But you know, we both predicted Washington was going to get the dub in this just because of how bad the Giants are and have been lately. This next game, though, this was a game that mattered for one team. This was a game that, hey, you win, baby. You win the playoffs.
Win you in. And simple as that. Just playing one of the worst teams in the league.
Play one of the worst teams in the league, and you just happen to have a player that's, once again, not going to be played in a playoff game.
Yep.
Man, Carson Wentz and these Colts
that had a crowd full of fans just like the Joker.
Just as clowns. Like,
ridiculous.
Roasting their own organization while they beating you.
Sent you home. You're a 9-8 team and you're not in the playoffs.
You a 9-8 team. Carson Wentz let his team down in this game. I mean, he did. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, he only had 77 yards. I mean, somehow they need to drug test this Jacksonville Jaguars D-line or something. Because what was this difference between this game and the rest of the season? They were manhandling that O-line of the Colts and, you know, stopping Jonathan Taylor. I mean, he did only have 77 yards, but that's saying something for him.
He did have 77, but exactly, like he usually goes over 100 easy. So yeah. What's going on here? You know, they were up on him 23-3 at one point. It was bad, man. So
yeah, and I mean, then you have to rely on your QB making, you know, accurate throws, smart decisions, and you know, you just couldn't get it done. He was 17 of 29, 185 touchdown and 1 interception for Carson Wentz. He also had 17 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Michael Pittman 64 yards and a touchdown there. T.Y. had 39 yards, but they just were not able to get it done. You know, Jaguars had control this whole game.
They really did from start to finish here. Like it was no contest. Trevor Lawrence got it done, man.
Trevor Lawrence, 23-32, 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Probably one of his best games of the year. Trevor Lawrence.
We both picked Indy in this one too.
Yeah, I feel like anybody would have. I mean, Marvin Jones led in receiving, 88 yards and a touchdown. But man, what a disappointment for these Colts. You know, they had such promise. They were beating playoff teams, you know, the past 5 weeks. They beat you. They beat the Cardinals. They beat another team. I forget which one. I'll have to look at their schedule.
They can't beat the Jaguars. They don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, they lost to the Raiders last week. They beat the Cardinals. They beat the Patriots. They beat the Texans. They lost to the Bucs, but they beat the Bills before that as well. It's crazy. You know, they had such promise. You know, we talked about them being like maybe a force, you know, a sleeper team going through these playoffs, but nope.
A team you didn't want to play.
Yeah, the team you didn't want to play, but now, hey, that's team you're not going to play. And speaking of teams that, man, we thought we weren't going to see in these playoffs, the Steelers and the Ravens. This was
Game
not a
went down to the
win it
wire.
if you're in it situation at all. They had to rely on another team. But,
Yeah.
The Steelers were able to get it done in the end against these Ravens. It was looking like these Ravens were going to get that dub for a minute.
Looked like they were going to spoil the Steelers here and have a chance to get in themselves potentially, but it did come down to overtime where the Steelers ended up winning the game by 3. Ben
Yeah.
Roethlisberger lives to see another game. He plays at least one more game.
Yeah. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger, 30-44, 244 yards, touchdown and a pick there. Chase Claypool actually had rushing yards, 33 yards he led in rushing.
Claypool led
Pat
in rushing.
Freiermuth led in receiving with 53 and no touchdown.
Ben threw 44 times for 244.
Crazy.
Ridiculous.
44 times. And you got Najee Harris there.
Hey, I mean, Najee Harris had a huge, play at the end of the game that ended up huge, for him, that touchdown. So
yeah,
that's big. But
absolutely,
we'll see what happens with him going forward. We'll talk about the playoffs here.
Yeah, and I mean the Ravens out of the playoffs. They ain't even seeing playoff action. Lamar Jackson's been missing the past couple weeks. It's a terrible season for them overall.
We haven't seen Lamar in weeks, man.
Weeks. This is very surprising.
Got that ankle injury. But at
least
now
it was something that they were saying that, he would only be out a week, and it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, at least they can rest them up over the offseason, and they don't have to worry about anything going forward.
Get it right. They'll see if they get him on that extension, if they sign him with an extension this offseason. But, I mean, Tyler Huntley filled in. He was 16 of 31, 141 yards, no touchdown, and 2 picks for them Ravens. Latavius Murray, he led in rushing with 150 yards and a touchdown. Mark Andrews led in receiving, like most games, 85 yards and no touchdowns there. But, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they had to rely on the night game here, which we'll get to later for them to get in here. And they also needed to rely on the Jaguars beating the Colts, which already happened at that point.
Happened for them. Exactly.
Yeah, it happened for them.
Oh, shit.
The next one here is the Titans and the Texans. Titans just doing their thing still. They rolling. Yeah. Even, Derrick Henry's active, but he wasn't playing.
Exactly.
They were able to get that dub.
He was practicing this week, right? He was back to practice.
Yeah, he was back at practice, gearing up for these playoffs. They got that bye week, that they locked in the 1 seed with the win.
Tennessee's got a very big advantage going into these playoffs with that bye week, man.
Man, it could be scary. I mean, Dante Foreman, he's been helping out in the rush game. He had 69 yards there this game. But Ryan Tannehill,
which was one of his lower games.
One of his lower games, yeah. He's been balling as of late, filling in for Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill had 287 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions for him. Pretty cool.
Yeah, he had a great game, man. And Danny Amendola on the other side, shout out Danny Amendola for 7 receptions, 113, and 2 touchdowns for Houston, man.
Yeah, for real.
Patriot.
Davis Mills, he was 23 of 33, 301 yards and 3 touchdowns. I feel like if David Mills was on a better team or in a better system, he wouldn't be bad. I mean, it seems like he has pretty good games on a very bad Texans team.
Like somewhere like the Saints, something like that, where
maybe
they have the receivers and the talent around where if you can get the ball in their hands, what this dude can do, obviously, they would be successful, but stuck in Houston, the island of misfit toys.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. But, we both picked the Titans in that one. They locked in that 1 seed. The next game here, the Saints and the Falcons. I think, did you pick the Saints? I picked the Falcons, right?
Nope. We both picked Atlanta in this one, man.
Oh.
We had a bad week.
Never pick Atlanta.
Never pick Atlanta. Should have learned a lesson. God damn it.
Yeah, the Saints came out and dominated the Falcons.
They ended up missing the playoffs here no matter what this outcome was. But they did come out, win the game pretty handily, 30-20. The Falcons had the ball there. But Matt Ryan, we talked about this before. I don't know what his future entails. What do you really think is going to happen with Matt Ryan in the future here?
I don't know. I feel like it depends on that contract. I don't know how many years he has left on that contract. I don't know if they'll be able to trade him with it. I don't know if anybody's want to pick that up for Matt Ryan. So I don't know I don't know if Atlanta has many options. Enough.
If they would want to give him up, some of these teams would hop on it.
It's possible.
What if Seattle ends up losing Russ and they're just like desperate? Pete Carroll's getting old. He's going to get dementia.
They get Matt Ryan.
End up getting Matt Ryan, you know?
Oh, man, that wouldn't be good. It's bad there with Russ, man. It's going to be worse with Matt Ryan.
Exactly. But he would be getting paid still. But I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I wonder how long he's going to be in Atlanta going forward.
Yeah, I mean, only time will tell. I mean, maybe he'll retire. Who knows?
He might even retire. Exactly.
Who knows? But yeah, he had 20 of 33, 216 yards, touchdown, and a pick there. Who was rushing in this game?
Kamara.
Mike Davis. Mike Davis and Kamara. But yeah, Mike Davis for Atlanta had 30 yards. He led in rushing for him. Kyle Pitts, he only had 8 yards in this game. But Gage led in 126 and 1 touchdown for them. Kamara, 146 yards.
Kamara had a great game.
Saints. Great game. Exactly this is what they should have been using him like this all the time.
Exactly. We were talking about this like a week or two ago. Like, why is Kamara only got like 20 yards when you have their quarterback? What was it? Taysom Hill was leading the team in rushing. It was just ridiculous. Kamara needs to be leading the league or leading the team in rushing.
And they wait until the last game of the year to do it.
Ridiculous. Well, they missed the playoffs, so better luck next year.
Yeah, I mean Taysom Hill, he was 7-9, like as a QB, 107 yards, a touchdown, and then Simeon came in. He was 9-15 with 71 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't really know. I didn't, I was watching Red Zone at that point, so it was kind of going back and forth. So I didn't see if Taysom Hill got hurt, if they pulled him for Simeon or what was going on there. I'm guessing they were kind of putting their foot on Atlanta's neck at that point.
I'm not sure what happened either. I didn't see, but I did see that Simeon was in at the end there.
The next one here, the Jets and the Bills. Bills took care of business against the Jets.
Unfortunately. And it didn't matter
you guys didn't need that
to
happen.
But I really hope that the Bills were going to lose this game. Maybe rest some starters, just kind of take the L because it don't matter. But nope, they got it. They locked up the AFC East title with the win over here over the Jets. Josh Allen at it again. Stephon Diggs, 9 receptions, 81 on the touchdown. Josh Allen, 24 of 45 for 239 and 2 touchdowns, man. He had a great game as well.
Great game. And Singletary, they used them once again. This is what happens. They used them once again, 88 yards and a touchdown. This is what we've been saying. They need to actually rely on their running backs.
Exactly. But, of course, the Jets are going to be the Jets. Only put up 10 points. Couldn't really do anything against Buffalo, who's a much, much better team. So this was kind of expected. We both picked Buffalo. Yeah,
I mean, Zach Wilson, he was 7 of 20, 87 yards and a touchdown.
7 completions. God damn.
Yeah, 7 completions. He also led in rushing with 2 carries and 24 yards. So, I mean,
oh my God.
The Jets were not able to really do anything against the Bills in this game.
This is to be expected,
And then you go to the next game, the 49ers and the Rams, another overtime game. And there was a couple overtime games during the season finale here. So this was a great game. The Rams,
really
got out to an early lead. And then them 49ers, Deebo Samuel out here. Jimmy Garoppolo had a pretty good game. He's still throwing picks, though. Questionable. Can't be throwing these picks. But he had a couple great throws, though. Helped them come back and win this game.
And Cooper Kupp, man. Despite the loss, Cooper Kupp had a great career, or a great season, let alone a great game here with 7 receptions, 118 and a touchdown. But he had a great season in consideration for MVP, I hear, with everybody talking about that. But
it's well-deserved, too, man.
It's well-deserved, man. But I picked the 49ers in this one. You picked the Rams.
The Rams, yeah. Gotta know you can't trust Matt Stafford, man, sometimes. 21 of 32, 238 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks as well. I think, was one a pick 6 as well? Like, he's been having issues with the pick 6s here lately.
Right. But, hey, we'll see what happens here, man, going forward. I think both these teams made the playoffs, so interesting matchups.
That's true. Jimmy G ended up with 316 yards, touchdown, and 2 picks. Debo, he actually had a pass. He was 1-1 for 24 yards and a touchdown. Debo out here throwing touchdowns. Elijah Mitchell, 85 yards. Brandon Ayuk led in receiving, 107 for him.
Right.
Next one here, I know you don't want to talk about, man, but we got to. Patriots and the Dolphins.
Did
not expect this. We both picked the Patriots in this one. They tricked you again. And they had you guys' number. They were getting at Mac Jones, making it frustrating for him.
Ridiculous. Like the worst performance we could have had going into the playoffs here. I just don't understand. I'm still repping Mac Jones. Going into the playoffs, we got a tough matchup. We'll talk about that. But they did not do great in this game here. Mac Jones didn't do terrible, but he had interception. Turning the ball over, not good. Couldn't really get anything done on the ground. Miami all around won this game and then fired their coach afterwards. Like, disrespectful.
Wild. Straight wild. But it's straight disrespectful. Like, that blew everybody's minds. Like, that even happened.
How you going to beat the Patriots and then lose your job?
Right.
Same weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Tua, he was 15 of 22, 109 yards, touchdown, at passing. Johnson led rushing 117 yards and a touchdown then for him. Smith had 32 yards. Waddle had 27 and a touchdown for him. Mac Jones, 20 of 30, 261 yards, touchdown and a pick there. And it was a pick six, unfortunately.
That was the worst part, man. It was instant points for him.
Yeah, instant points for him. Bolden, for you guys, 46 yards and a touchdown. Damian Harris, 37 yards, touchdown. Hunter Henry led in receiving for you, 86 yards.
Yeah.
Miami, it caught everybody off guard. Nobody was expecting that against you guys. Everybody was kind of expecting you guys to go out here and, run them down.
I really thought they were, and tough matchup going into the playoffs here, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, exactly. The Seahawks and the Cardinals here. Nobody expected this one either.
Another surprise.
These Cardinals, man, it doesn't look good. It's not looking good for the fate of these Cardinals.
They ruined our prediction from March. I have to take it off the board now. From March 23rd, Arizona won the NFC West. They didn't. Came down to this game, and you blew it. You blew it to the Seahawks, who are trash. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Kyler Murray, 28 of 39 for 240 and a touchdown. He had an all right game, but, they just couldn't get it done, man. They couldn't get it done.
James Conner, 52 yards and a touchdown. Zach Ertz led at 84 yards receiving.
Rashard Penny with another amazing game.
Another amazing game. This dude has been great for him since they started. Who knows what's going to happen with him next year? Because I know Chris Carson's been having some injury issues here as of late. Yeah. Maybe the Seahawks will roll with Rashard Penny here.
We'll see what happens. That's the only bright spot they got right now because they have so many question marks elsewhere on that team.
Yeah, Tyler Lockett, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns. Metcalf, 58 yards there. Wilson also had 5 yards rushing and a touchdown. 238 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a surprise, man. Can't trust them Cardinals.
Can't trust the Cardinals now. We both picked the Cardinals in this game. So it's a telltale sign, maybe something to think about in the future here.
The next one here, the Panthers and the Buccaneers. This one went pretty much as expected again.
Tom Brady wasn't fucking around.
Wasn't fucking around. He rolled all over these Panthers.
Got the 2 seed.
Tom Brady at 326 yards, 3 touchdowns for him before he left the game. 43 yards rushing for Miller there. Gronk had 137 yards, no touchdowns. Mike Evans, 89 yards and 2 touchdowns for him.
Mm-hmm. Brady made sure Gronk got that incentive bonus, so he ended up making that extra $1 million.
Yeah. But this one went
out
pretty much as advertised.
Yeah, we both picked Tampa Bay.
Yeah. But the big story of the day was the final game of the regular season, the Chargers and the Raiders. This ended up being one of the best games of the season. And it came down to, some would call, a dumb timeout. A
real dumb timeout.
A timeout that maybe if you want to made it, both teams would have been in the playoffs here, instead of just the Raiders. But this was a great game overall. Just watching the final drive before overtime with Herbert, coming down, and then it was on the last play of the game, last chance touchdown right there. It was wild. It was great.
It might have been the best game of the season, just like as far as entertainment going back and forth and everything. But these Raiders, man, look at these Raiders. After everything they've been through all season, they finished with 10 wins.
Yeah, nobody expected
10-7.
them to. They started off hot, and then they had that streak of just, they looked really bad, after the, firing the head coach, and then all these, issues with, the players getting in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So, go into the playoffs and, possibly, who knows, make a run, upset a couple teams. It's possible.
It's possible, but not likely. But
Not likely,
congratulations to the Raiders making the playoffs, man.
Yeah, congrats to them. For some reason, it's not letting me see the box score on the app. I don't understand why that. So I don't have the stats in front of me for this game. But yeah, what we mentioned about the timeout, in the overtime, if these teams would have tied, both of them would have went into the playoffs, and the Steelers would have been eliminated. If one of them would have won, either the Chargers or Raiders would have made it in, and the Steelers would also make the playoffs there. And then it came down to, Raiders had the ball. They were pretty much running down the field, and the Chargers knew they were going to run it and still couldn't stop it. That was their problem. But it was like within the last 10 seconds, you could tell the Raiders were just like kind of taking their time getting up to the line and everything.
Like, okay,
and then the Chargers take a timeout. And you could tell they were just going to let the clock run out and take the tie. And then the Chargers make a timeout, and I guess the coach said the issue was they were missing a guy on the field, and they wanted to make sure that there was an extra guy there to stop the run. And it was like, I don't know, man. I feel like everybody had the impression Derek Carr even said it after the game. And I was like, hey, if they wouldn't taken the timeout, we were just gonna let it roll.
Just like
Raiders
because
like,
why not?
You want to be cheeky, huh? Okay, we're just gonna kick this field goal now.
Kick the field goal. Fuck it. Y'all can go home then. We'll go to the playoffs.
Yeah. Peace. We'll let the Steelers in.
That's
Steelers
ridiculous.
fans watching this, sweating this whole game, especially because there was like no way this is going to end in a tie. After talking, all week, even we mentioned it last week, like, it just happens if they tie or whatever. They both make it. That would never happen. They just nailed it the whole game, and then it came down. It could have actually happened.
Exactly, but hey, Raiders won the game. Chargers made a mistake there. I know they're heartbroken about that. I saw that video of Eckler, all heartbroken, but Raiders move on.
Raiders move on. And that's pretty much all the breakdown for the season finale. It's so at this point on, if your team's not in, you shouldn't be talking trash.
Yeah,
none of that. None of that. Get out of here if your team's not in the playoffs.
Somehow the Steelers made it. I don't understand, but they made it.
And I'm wearing my Eagles jersey because this may be the last time I get to wear it for a little bit, so after the season.
Same. Got Mac Jones, rookie season, made the playoffs, man. That's what I'm talking about.
So before we go into our Super Wild Card weekend predictions, we're going to go through all the news because Black Monday has happened. A lot of coaches and there's some GMs that got fired as well. There's some other news within the NFL as well. Yeah. The first one here was actually announced today. Apparently, Amazon will take over Thursday Night Football next season, and they're targeting Marshawn Lynch as a feature analyst interviewer for the studio show.
That would be awesome, man.
It would be amazing.
I really hope so.
It would be absolutely amazing. They
kind
need
of trying
to
to copy the Manning cast there, but that's perfect, man. Marshawn would be a great player.
It is, but
player to get.
Yeah, they're gonna have to have somebody on that censor button, on that bleep button, real quick.
Yeah, just to make sure he's not saying nothing too wild. But I think they would have a handle, especially being on Amazon. They would be able to get away with some more,
Yeah, it's possible. Now here, this was also announced today. This was actually surprising. This didn't happen yesterday, but the Giants officially fired Joe Judge today.
Oh, for real?
Gone. Yeah, they officially fired him. They waited a day. That apparently the owners wanted another meeting with him, and as of a couple hours ago, they officially fired Joe Judge. He's gone.
Interesting, because at first you heard all that about they're gonna keep him, but he's gone.
Gone. Yeah, I was cool with him keeping him. I'm fine with playing a Joe Judge led Giants twice a year. I'm sure the rest of the NFC East is as well. And in other news, the Buccaneers' Richard Sherman season is over after being put on IR for the second time. So, he's shut down for the rest of the season. Not going to be playing in the playoffs for them Buccaneers.
Damn, man. His career kind of ended it sputtering,
Yeah. The Bears are planning to sign Doug Peterson. Planning to interview Doug Peterson. I almost broke some false news. They're planning to interview Doug Peterson for the head coach job, possibly replacing his buddy, Matt Nagy.
Interesting. Because I know we talked about Doug Peterson going to Jacksonville, so we'll see how that
Yeah.
ends up
At
working
this
out.
point, he already had the interview with Jacksonville, so who knows how
Right.
that went.
Exactly. And they didn't hire him yet, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we don't expect any hirings to happen until the actual off season. I'm sure I don't expect anybody to, I'm expecting at least all these good teams that want to compete, leave no stone unturned as far as, interviewing for hires, check out
Right.
everybody.
Right.
Russell Wilson's 113th win over the season and playoff combined has passed Peyton Manning for the most wins by a QB in his first 10 years.
Damn. Okay. He's on a good pace
So, I mean,
there.
bad season for Russ overall and the Seahawks, but, he was able to get a little something there.
Right.
The Broncos requested permission to speak with Eric Bieniemy for their head coaching job because Vic Fangio is officially out as the head coach
Got fired.
for the Broncos. He's gone. That was announced before the game on Saturday.
That's crazy. They announced that shit before the game. They're like,
yeah, and they
right,
also
the
Broncos also requested to interview the Packers offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett for their head coach job. So Packers could also lose their offensive coordinator.
People starting to poach staff of that Packers, like, seeing them win 3 straight 13-win seasons.
Yeah, they're like,
They need to start poaching that Packers staff.
And an interview after, I don't know if this was after the game or the day after, but Frank Reich declined to say whether or not Wentz will be the starter in 2022. So he is not going to evaluate players individually. He says, I'm going to go back and look later, but it does feel like that's different than what he said about Rivers at this time last year. But
Interesting.
He just declined to say that Carson's going to be a starter next year, which is pretty interesting. You lost first-round pick for him this year. He took on his big old contract. So what are you going to do? You just going to trade him?
Playoffs.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
And he played a lot of games, so
yeah. I mean, yeah. He had over 80% of the snaps. He played all season. I mean, which is good. He didn't get hurt at all. I mean, he got hurt before the season, but he still played all the games.
Right. He just didn't play great.
Yeah. But yeah, big old question mark on Indy. What's going to happen there?
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo Bills are the first team since the 2012 Steelers to lead the NFL in total defense without a player selected to the Pro Bowl on defense.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a team effort. Okay, that's what we got to fucking match up against, god damn it.
The Broncos also requested permission to interview Cowboys Dan Quinn.
Yeah. With what he's done with that defense, man.
And Patriots linebacker coach Gerard Mayo.
No. He's staying in-house, man. He's got to stay. Come on, don't pull Mike Vrabel on us. Don't go to a different team and end up just great, leading teams to the 1 seed.
Yeah. The Giants GM Dave Gettleman informed the building he's retiring. Not just quit, he's retiring. He's gone.
He's out.
Giants are looking for a GM and a new head coach.
Yep. They're regime changing right now.
As you hinted at earlier, head coach Brian Flores for the Dolphins was let go after going 8-1 in his final 9 games. Apparently this stems from confrontations he's had with the GM and owner as well as Tua. That's what the reports are saying, is he just didn't work well with them. I don't know if I believe that because this dude, I don't trust this GM, dude. He's been there for like 20 years or something.
Right.
So
just shady, man.
Yeah, it's shady.
He'll get a job somewhere else for sure.
Oh, for sure. For sure. He's going to be one of the most sought at head coaches right now. I hope the Giants don't get him.
And this is good for me because it just means more rebuilding for Miami. So whatever. They're so dumb. They're so dumb. They do this shit every 3 years.
Right. Let me see here. The Chicago Bears have fired general manager Ryan Pace, as well as we expected, Matt Nagy. Finally. Gonzo. So, I mean, we just waiting until that announcement that Doug Peterson as head coach and Matt Nagy is offensive coordinator for them Jaguars.
Exactly. Eventually it's going to happen. We got that up on our board here.
The Vikings have fired GM Rick Spielman and head coach Mike Zimmer.
Which is surprising.
Yeah, Mike Zimmer, he's a well-known name in the coaching world. when you think of head coaches like the Saints, Sean Payton, he's been there for a minute. Mike Zimmer's been in the Vikings for a long time,
Right.
So,
I
mean,
expect him to get another job in the league unless he wants to retire. If he retires, then
or maybe he'll
that
go
makes
to like a
sense, but
coordinator position or something.
yeah, just for a year or two to kind of get back into it,
Yeah. Najee Harris for the Steelers finished his rookie regular season with 381 touches, more than any other player in the league. He had
Damn.
0 fumbles in that time.
Damn, he might end up winning Rookie of the Year. Him or Jamar.
Yeah, it's the second most touches by a player in a single season in NFL history without a fumble.
Damn.
Pretty crazy. The NFC playoff teams, the last 5 games, this is pretty cool. Packers are 4-1, Bucks 4-1, Cowboys 4-1, Rams 4-1, 49ers 4-1, Eagles 4-1, Cardinals 1-4.
Oh,
So a
shit.
little stat to remember come this weekend.
Yeah, to kind of help you make your picks.
Make your picks. Rob Gronkowski, and yesterday in the game against the Panthers, Rob Gronkowski's 32nd career game with 100 receiving yards broke a tie with Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez for most such games by a tight end in NFL history.
That's awesome. Something Travis
Really
Kelce's
cool.
going to eventually end up breaking, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And Cooper Kupp got the Triple Crown.
Hell yeah.
This year. Cooper Kupp is the 4th player to lead the NFL in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns in a season, joining Jerry Rice, Sterling Sharp, Steve Smith.
Yeah, that's a great
cool.
achievement to have. A lot of good names up there to be in company with there.
Absolutely. This is pretty cool. First time as head coach of the Patriots, Bill Belichick will be going into the playoffs as a wild card team and not as the NFC East Division winner. First time.
Interesting. Oh, God. We'll see what happens. We'll see if there's any snow. I hope it snows like a motherfucker for this game.
I figured you would. I figured you would be hoping for snow. New career high in passing yards, second career 5,000-yard passing season, and a league leader in completions, passing yards, and passing touchdowns for the GOAT, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady at 50-something years old, however old he is right now, like
485 completions, 5,300 yards.
Best season of his career, man.
43 touchdowns. Crazy.
I don't understand it. Like, this dude just doesn't stop.
He's going to keep going.
Good luck against him, man.
We going to need it. TJ Watt tied Michael Strahan's single-season sack record in 15 games. He had 22 sacks.
That's the craziest part about it, was he didn't even play the entire 17-game season there.
Right. That's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Bucks wide receiver Mike Evans just surpassed 1,000 receiving yards for the 8th straight season to begin his career, extending his own record.
Exactly. 8 straight years right out of the gate. 1,000 yards every time. That's something that I don't really. It's hard to believe it hasn't been done before, but somebody like Mike Evans, it doesn't really surprise me. No matter
gets overlooked, I feel. Mike Evans, he never really gets talked about enough among like the other elite receivers.
Right, but he deserves it, man.
Staying on the Bucks here, Le'Veon Bell caught a touchdown pass from Tom Brady, and Bell is now the 90th different player to catch a touchdown from Tom Brady. Ridiculous. And that's a record. That's an NFL record.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Another record for Brady.
90 different players he's thrown a touchdown to. Matt Stafford set a new Rams single-season record for passing yards, surpassing Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, who set the previous high of 4,800 yards. Yep, in his first year with the Rams.
Don't surprise me, because Matt Stafford's always slinging the ball.
Once again, the Jaguars have locked in the number 1 overall pick for the draft.
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting. I wonder what they're going to do with it, But
yeah,
it doesn't surprise me. They're terrible. Somehow Detroit was better than them, but they're terrible.
Did you see about the Manning curse?
No.
All 7 active players who joined the Monday Night Manning broadcast lost their next game.
Really?
Yeah. Travis Kelce and Russell Wilson were on week 1, and the Chiefs and Seahawks both lost in week 2. Gronkowski joined in week 2. Bucks lost in week 3. Matt Stafford joined in week 3, lost in 4. Tom Brady joined in week 7, lost in week 8. Josh Allen joined in week 8 and lost in 9. And Aaron Rodgers joined in 17 and lost in 18. It's pretty interesting. So you got the
Another
Madden
great
curse, and then you got the
superstition.
Manning curse.
Right.
Rumor has it Texans have set a target to trade Deshaun Watson before free agency opens March 16th.
Okay. So we're gonna see some action eventually.
Eventually. Apparently, I guess they have some inside source that maybe, I don't know, this legal stuff could be all settled by then. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
The Browns are planning on sticking with Baker Mayfield as the starting QB, apparently.
Good. That's what they need to do. They can't be switching up quarterbacks every couple of years.
Yeah. The Broncos fired Pat Shurmur as their offensive coordinator, along with Vic Fangio, we already mentioned. The Lions parted ways with their offensive coordinator, Anthony Lynn, which I expect him to get another coaching job, pretty quick as well. He's pretty decent. It's pretty crazy they got rid of him already. I guess they needed someone to pin the blame on.
That fast.
Buccaneers, Vita Vea agreed on a 4-year extension worth $73 million.
Damn.
Yeah, so, he's been a big part of the Buccaneers, so, it was great to have them lock him down here for the next 4 years. This is pretty crazy, but the former Chicago Bears center Olin Krutz said that the Bears offered him a job in 2018 to assist the offensive line coaches for $15 an hour.
What?
Yeah.
The hell?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That sounds like something Nagy would do.
Yeah.
That was before him.
And this is actually pretty crazy as well. The Jaguars are planning to interview former Texans head coach Bill O'Brien.
I know. I heard that. Apparently, they're interviewing anybody with any type of football knowledge.
Yeah. There's our Cardinals designated J.J. Watt to return from injury reserve. So he's possibly playing in these playoff games coming up here.
Don't need him, but I don't know if it's enough there.
Yeah, true. Being reported, Falcons wide receiver Calvin Ridley's future with the team could be coming to an end. They could be mutually parting ways, so he might be a free agent here this offseason.
Okay.
Panthers are rumored to be open to moving Christian McCaffrey this offseason.
Yeah, I saw that as well, which is dumb, but, he's been really injury-ridden, so might as well try to get something for him.
Yeah. And this is a kind of the dumb story of the day. There's a lawsuit out there. A New York fan has filed a $6 billion class action lawsuit against the Jets and Giants for playing in New Jersey while being branded as New York teams.
We'll see where this goes. It's dumb as shit.
You're liars. This is false.
False advertisement. We'll see where that goes.
Aaron Rodgers said on his relationship with the Packers front office, the organization and the conversation we've had, we're in a way different place than we ever have been. I'm really appreciative of Brian Gutekunst, and it's been a really enjoyable year.
Interesting.
So it's interesting. A lot of stuff he's been saying lately makes me think that he could consider his stay in there and
just
old
chilling
Green Bay.
in Green Bay. Yeah,
just chilling in Green Bay.
Keep it rolling.
Why not? You already have an established system. You made it the past couple years to the conference championship. Yeah, you're the 1 seed now. Why leave? Especially they can lock down Devontae and all this, so they can get you more help. If they're finally working with you, why? What's the point of leaving?
See what happens.
The Washington football team and left tackle Charles Leno agreed to a 3-year, $37 million extension. It's good for him. Got the bag there. NFL teams could lose a draft pick and face fines for unprofessional conduct during their draft prospect interviews. That's sense. Some of that crazy shit you've been hearing during these draft campaigns. There's a couple of examples they had here. In 2018, then Miami Dolphins general manager Jeff Ireland apologized to Dallas Cowboys first-round draft pick Des Bryant for asking during a pre-draft visit whether his mother was a prostitute.
Yeah,
apparently.
Shit like that.
Yeah, shit like that. In 2016, then Atlanta Falcons coach Dan Quinn apologized to Eli Apple because one of his coaches asked the cornerback his sexual preference. Stuff like that. Come on now. You could be losing draft picks and fines here on out. Any of these, get to the NFL.
Good.
And all in all, as of right now, openings for head coaches, Jaguars, Broncos, Dolphins, Vikings, Bears, and the Raiders. Depending on what the Raiders do, they could just sign the dude that they have there that's filling in for him. I think it was their offensive coordinator. Or else, they can go looking elsewhere. Who knows?
Right. They got
And
a
as
long off season to decide that.
Yeah, and you can also add the Giants to that list. And the general manager is also the Giants, Vikings, and the Bears there.
Mm-hmm. A lot of openings.
A lot of openings as of right now.
Surprising amount.
Yeah. So I mean that's all the news that I have right here. So we can go right into our Squad Pod Sports Super Wildcard Weekend predictions brought to you by the Sideline Sports Network. So they already released the schedule here for the Wildcard Weekend, and we got Saturday playoff games here. First game we got
Sunday,
Raiders
Monday.
and the Bengals.
Raiders and the Bengals. And this one
are 5.5-point favorites going into this playoff game. We in playoffs now.
This is playoff mode. Cincinnati, full strength. Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, and Joe Burrow. So yeah. I'm sorry, Derek Carr and them Raiders. Them
it was all for naught.
Raiders. It was all for naught. You ran into a buzzsaw with these Bengals, and they're gonna run all over you. I'm going with Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with the Bengals in this one, man. For pretty much the reasons that you mentioned.
Exactly.
I don't know. Are they getting Darren Waller back for the Raiders at all?
Man, he's been out since Thanksgiving.
Man, yeah. I mean, unless they can somehow run all around with Josh Jacobs and stuff, and then they can pull something out, I don't see the Raiders, keeping up with the high-powered, Bengals deep offense, that they have there. You can see
score with them.
Yeah, you can see Jamar Chase having like 150 and 2 touchdowns in this game or something.
Easily.
Next one here, the primetime Saturday night game, Patriots and Bills in Buffalo.
My Patriots. Okay.
Buffalo are 4-point favorites on this game.
We're going with the Patriots. Buffalo. Going with the Patriots. We're going to surprise them. Okay, this is round 3. We split the season so far. I know we just lost to the Dolphins, but there's nothing in my soul that can make me pick Buffalo in this game. Okay, I'm rolling with the Patriots. I don't care if you get the victory over me this week. I'm rolling with the Patriots.
I feel
Mac Jones will get his first playoff victory over Josh Allen.
Oh, I am going to pick them Bills. I'm sorry, Vern. I'm going to pick them Bills. Especially if they keep running Singletary and the running backs like that. I mean, I got to roll with the hot hand. They've been having a good couple of weeks here leading up into the playoffs, so I'm going to roll with them Bills.
I understand. It makes sense. My heart's just telling me I got to pick New England.
Oh, I understand, man. I understand. Then you go into the Sunday games here, the Eagles and the Buccaneers in 1 o'clock. Tampa Bay are 8.5-point favorites. Just strictly on our picks, I'm going to pick the Buccaneers in this game. But talking about the game, I think the Eagles could upset these Buccaneers.
They could.
If they commit to the run and, they focus what they're good at here. And this is 2 entirely different teams than who played in week 6 of this season. Leonard Fournette, apparently they may be getting him back. Who knows how healthy he is. They're also a little banged up. Mike Evans, left the game this past week a little banged up. They also don't have Godwin this time. They don't have Antonio Brown.
Exactly. There's a lot missing there. So they're not the same team that went to the Super Bowl last year.
Exactly. And then on Philly side, Lane Johnson's playing. He wasn't in that game against them. Malata's going back into the left side. Now the Eagles have one of the best offensive lines in the league right now. So that can, battle against that Bucs defensive line. Eagles are actually committing to the run since that game. I think they ran 8 times in that game against the Bucs. So, I mean, as long as the Eagles can do what they've been doing recently, I think they can keep it a close game and possibly, squeak out a dub in this one. But I am picking the Buccaneers overall.
Gotcha. I'm picking the Bucs as well. But everything you said made perfect sense, man. Like, valid points. The Eagles definitely have a chance to win that game, but I'm picking the Bucs.
Yeah. 49ers and the Cowboys here at 4:30. This one is in Arlington. The Arlington football team against the 49ers.
The Arlington football team versus San Fran 49ers.
Dallas is 3-point favorites in this game. I'm going to pick the 49ers in this one.
I figured you would. I'm going to pick the Cowboys. That's who I'm rolling with in this one. I think they're great this year, all around. Defense is great. Offense is clicking. 49ers have been so wishy-washy. I don't know.
That's true.
It really depends on what 49er team shows up this Sunday here. But if it's
Yeah.
Dallas that's been rolling the last couple of weeks, they're gonna butcher them. So I'm rolling with Dallas in this game.
We'll see. Yeah, so I'm going to pick the 49ers on that one. Then you go into the primetime game here, the Chiefs against the Steelers. Chiefs are 12.5-point favorites.
Yeah,
That's the largest margin of Super Wildcard weekend here.
Of the weekend, man.
The weekend.
I'm sorry, Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, Ben Roethlisberger. It's cool that you guys got another extra game, but you're going to lose to these Chiefs on Sunday night, and you're going home. Ben Roethlisberger, you can retire. You can ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to win pretty easily in this one. I mean, maybe they can somehow make it a game, but I see the Chiefs rolling in this one.
Exactly.
And that leads to our Monday night primetime wild card game, the Cardinals versus the Rams. You have two teams here. I mean, the Cardinals more so have been looking very, very sus past couple weeks. And the Rams, they have their bright moments, but Matt Stafford, he just turns the ball over. He's been throwing pick sixes. This is an interesting game. They did play, during the season here a couple times. The Cardinals beat them 37-20 one time, and then they ended up losing. The Rams ended up beating the Cardinals 30-23. So they split during the season. So it's going to be interesting to see what teams you get here.
I'm rolling with the Rams, and I know I've been hot on the Cardinals all year, but they are, like you said, 1-4 over the last 5 games. They are not the same team that they were at the beginning of the year. So yeah, I'm rolling with the Rams in this one. 100%.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Rams as well, man. I cannot trust these Cardinals. Like it was like the first 8 games or 9 games of the season, we were like Cardinals every game. Like they winning this shit. They 9-1, 10-1 or something. Come on. Cardinals every day, but yeah, at this point, I'm going to go with them Rams.
Exactly. Gotta go with the Rams.
Gotta go with them Rams. And of course, Green Bay has the bye. Titans have that bye there. They don't have to play the rest and chill for the week.
Right. Exactly.
That's why I'm kind of hoping them Eagles can come out with some energy. They pretty much had a bye week this past week. They didn't have to play any of their starters. Roll right into Tampa with some energy. Smack them in the mouth.
We'll see.
Come out early, smack them in the mouth. Don't let up.
We
I
will
hope so.
See.
I'm gonna be insufferable if we end up beating these Tampa Bay Buccaneers somehow. But yeah, that's the wild card weekend, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. Whether we win or lose, I know I'm sure you feel the same way. It's we weren't supposed to be here. This is a rebuild season. It
was a successful season nonetheless.
Exactly. I'm excited to make it. I'm excited to see, the Eagles make it to the playoffs somehow and get all these young players some playoff experience against the GOAT. You have to play Tom Brady in the playoffs, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, crazy.
That's crazy.
It is pretty cool. So we'll roll right into some other talk here. Before we roll in the NBA, we just got to now just say congratulations, Georgia, for taking down Alabama.
Yeah,
in the national championship.
They did it. They took down Saban, gave him another L on his record, for national championship games. But Georgia got it done, man. They were a great team this year.
That was their first title since 1980.
God damn, well deserved. They've had a lot of great teams over the last couple of years and have been falling short. So that's really what they needed to get done.
Congratulations to them. So with that said, we'll roll right into all of our NBA talk. What's going on with your NBA hot and not list?
Yep. So as far as my hot and not, I have Memphis, who just beat my Lakers. They're hot right now, man. 9-game winning streak, 9-1 over the last 10 games.
They just beat the Warriors tonight as we're talking.
So
they
10-game winning
them
streak.
an L.
10-0 on the last 10. So they're on a 10-game winning streak. Philly on a 7-game winning streak. They're rolling right now, 8-2 over the last 10. And then I have Toronto, who's on a 6-game winning streak. They're kind of, getting hot here, trying to, get some good position in 7-3. The Dallas Mavericks trying to climb back up there with a 6-game winning streak, 7-3 over the last 10. And then my honorable mention is Chicago, who was on a 1-game losing streak, but they're 9-1 over the last 10. They've been hot.
Yeah, we just won tonight. We righted the ship here.
Boom. Exactly. There you go. So I had to put them on there because they've been playing great ball too.
I bet I can guess who one of your teams on not list.
Yeah, I bet you can too. Who? Let me see.
Them Houston Rockets.
Houston Rockets are on my hot list, or on my not list, and we'll get to them. But the number one team is Orlando on a 9-game losing streak, 1-9 over the last 10. They're terrible right now, man. 9-game losing streak. And then Sacramento, another familiar face, 5-game losing streak, 3-7 over the last 10. OKC, who really we haven't really heard much out of, 4-game losing streak, 3-7, and then Houston, of course, 3-game losing streak, 1-9 over the last 10. The only reason they're not higher is because they won a game recently. So Houston's on there as well, like every single week.
Nice. So we'll roll right into some of the other NBA talk here. We got some. Speaking of the Sixers, you talk about the Sixers there on your hot list. Apparently, they're looking to package Tobias Harris with Ben Simmons in trade talks.
Interesting.
John Collins reportedly is not happy with his role on the Hawks and could be wanting to trade out of there.
Wouldn't surprise me, man, at this point.
Apparently, an insider within the NBA said, "Don't be surprised that Damian Lillard has played his last game of the season."
Damn, with the injury. It's that bad.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that bad. That might do something with his trade implications here.
Yeah. The Jazz plan to sign Denzel Valentine. We talked about him last week, getting bounced around there between the Cavs, and then the Knicks. But yeah, the Jazz officially signed him there. The Cavs also, they waived Taco Fall and they signed Brandon Goodwin.
Interesting. I feel like he'll end up on somebody's waiver, or at least the G League.
Yeah, I would think so as well. The Pistons and the Nuggets agreed to trade a trade that will send Bol to Detroit in exchange for Rodney McGruder and a future second-round pick.
Yep. Kind of Detroit's in the rebuild right now process, so it's just going to be developmental.
Yeah. After bringing him up, the Pacers have decided to keep Lance Stevenson for the rest of the season after he decided to ball out in his first couple games for him.
That's awesome. I saw him doing the air guitar and shit.
Yeah, so I mean, he came out against, I think his first game was against the Nets there, and he had 20 points in 10 minutes or something. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Denver Nuggets are planning to sign free agent center DeMarcus Cousins, who was released recently.
Trying to get some depth there.
Yeah. There's belief around the league Atlanta is more likely to trade Cam Reddish than to sign him an extension, apparently.
Interesting. And trade deadline's approaching here.
Yeah. Boston Celtics plan to waive forward Jabari Parker.
Damn, they're just going to waive him.
They're just going to waive him.
He
fell off.
Was on the cover of magazines at one point.
Yeah, he fell off. Gerald Green, unretiring, plans to sign to a Gene League.
Okay. Everybody else is doing it, might as well.
Dirk Nowitzki officially has his number 41 retired by the Mavs the other night.
And that's awesome. I missed that. I gotta kind of look that up and see how that went. That's awesome.
And believe it or not, we have another Tony Snell stat for you.
Oh God.
Danny Green for the Sixers, 24 minutes, 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, and 0 blocks. 0 across the board. Most minutes by a player with zeros since Tony Snell in 2017.
What was Tony Snell's?
Oh, it didn't say on that stat that I had.
He played 32 minutes and had no stat.
Something like that, man. It's ridiculous. Inexcusable.
Yeah, what are you doing out there? Just running up and down the court.
The other night for you guys, Russell Westbrook had 0 turnovers in 33 minutes. That's the first time he's played 30-plus minutes without a turnover since 2013.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Been a long time.
I saw that. And then, the next night, turnovers again, but I did see that stat. I was like, that's crazy. It's been that long since he's had a game without a turnover, playing 30-some minutes,
But that's all that I have as far as NBA news this week. So we can roll right into our bias bubbles here, Vern, if you want.
Yep. As far as my Lakers, man, just kind of a couple rumors. Apparently, we're pursuing Jeremy Grant from Detroit.
Along with them Bulls. Bulls trying to get him too, apparently.
Apparently, they're pursuing him, so we'll see what happens. And there's interest in Miles Turner as well. So I think we have one spot left open. So I don't know who's going to end up getting it. If it will either be one of those two,
Yeah.
And then LeBron has moved. More LeBron records. He's moved up to 7th all time in assists. All you know what I mean, all
Damn.
time. And he's top 10 all time in steals now. He did those two this week here, so he's still just climbing up both of those ladders there.
Yeah.
Then as far as my Patriots, it's wild card weekend, baby. It's been a while since we played a wild card game. Obviously we've played wild card games in the past, but like you said, it's been as a division winner. So it's been a while since I've never seen this actually. Now that I think about it, but
Never seen nothing like it.
let's go New England. I'm really praying for snow. That way, the battle-hardened Patriots that practice in that shit can do what they do and win a tough game in Buffalo and march on, to the divisional round of the playoffs. So I'm really hoping that happens, man. I'm so hyped for it. I'm going to be very disappointed if we lose, but I'm going to be very happy if we win.
All I'm hoping for, at least, is that they're good games. I don't want to get I don't want to have a blowout, man. I'll be so disappointed. I'm just happy we're there, but I'm gonna be deflated if it's a blowout.
Damn,
I don't care if we lose. Just please make it a good game.
Turn this shit off, man.
Yeah, I'll turn this shit off.
But yeah, I'm just excited for the game coming up, man.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. As far as Bulls, they still number 1 in the East right now. A couple games up from them Nets, so it's all good right there. The only thing that there wasn't really too much news. I thought this was pretty interesting. We played the Wizards the other night, and our rookie at Io said Bradley Beal gave him some advice during the game about how to make a move, like driving to the basket, and apparently Io did that move on him a couple minutes later. And then Beal said to him, I didn't say use it on me. I said use it in the future.
Yeah.
After
funny.
He did it to him. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Added it to the arsenal.
Yeah. And I just think that's pretty cool. I mean, you always heard Kobe doing that shit and Braun doing that type of stuff and all these other vets. So I mean, it's really cool hearing about that kind of stuff. Even on opposing teams, just trying to help somebody out.
Right. Exactly.
As far as them Eagles, we in the what you're saying in the wild card, we in the playoffs. So I mean, I'm just happy to be here. Hopefully we can get a world stunning win over the Buccaneers to just rub it in Tom Brady's face a little bit more, just so he hates the Eagles a little bit more. Just knock him out of playoffs. That would be great. I mean, we would have to face Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay if we beat these Packers. I mean, if we beat these Buccaneers. So, I mean, it wouldn't be good next week, but it would be nice to win one there.
Right. It would be amazing.
I do have, the game against Dallas wasn't great, but we did accomplish a couple things here. Jason Kelce came in to the game for one snap before he left. And that was to extend his streak. Yeah, that was to extend his streak, and now it's 122 games straight that he's started a game. He hasn't missed a game. So that's awesome for him. That could have been his last home game against if he retires this all season, but it didn't seem like it was his last home game. Whenever he was there, every time they showed him on the sidelines, it didn't look like he was upset or sad. Last year at this time, we had the picture of him, Ertz, and Wentz chilling after the game, just in this empty stadium, just chilling, talking.
You really thought it was over for all of them.
Yeah. Whereas this, apparently they're saying he was just chilling, joking around with people on the sidelines. It didn't give people the impression that, he felt like this was his last home game. So hopefully, comes back. I mean, he went into the Pro Bowl. Dude still got it. He's one of the top centers.
I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back again. Why not? As long as he's healthy.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm hoping he does. But he did that. Devontae Smith broke Deshaun Jackson's rookie receiving record, as expected. So congrats to him. We also, the Eagles, have set a new franchise record in rushing yards in a single season. We had 2,000 623 rushing yards, and it's most in franchise history.
That's surprising based off of the first half of the year there.
Yeah, and that's crazy. Imagine if they would have started running like this at the first game, man. It would have been broken a couple weeks ago, probably.
They would have blew that record out of the water.
Yeah. And I guess the Dallas at the Dallas game, Jay Ajayi was there, and he officially retired an Eagle. He said, I'm officially
He was the honorary captain.
Yeah, he was the honorary captain there. I thought that was pretty cool.
Right.
And Jalen Hurts was sacked 26 times this season. Only one other QB was sacked less, and that was Tom Brady, 22.
There you go. That's how he stays so healthy all the time, man.
Eagles Bucks is the fourth playoff game since the merger between the top rushing offense in Philly and the top passing offense in Tampa, and it's the first since 1996.
Interesting. So it's just going to be two different forms of offense going at each other to see who can stop who.
In the two of the previous three matchups, the top rushing team won, apparently.
Interesting.
Very interesting. My guess is because it, just takes time off the clock. Time of possession.
Keep the other person off the field.
Yeah. This is going to be the biggest age gap between starting QBs in NFL playoff history. Apparently, Jalen Hurts 23, Tom Brady's 44. And this is Jalen's playoff debut, and this is Tom Brady's 46th playoff game, which is crazy.
God damn, he's played multiple seasons worth of playoff games.
Yeah, he's played more playoff games than years that Jalen Hurts been alive. Crazy. Yeah. Jake Elliott set a new franchise record for field goal percentage with 90.9%. 90.9%.
Nice. That's awesome. So I picked him up for my fantasy team at the end of the year there. He's great, man.
Franchise record. And, with the Eagles, they had a positive record this year. I think there was 9-8. Made the playoffs somehow. Nick Sirianni is the only rookie head coach to make the playoffs now. So, congrats to him.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people talking shit all year.
Talking shit, but look at us now. Where you at? You waited playoffs. Talk about it.
In the playoffs.
But with all of that, the last thing here is the Eagles still got 3 first-round picks going into this draft coming up here. And if it's official, we got the number 15 and 16, and then we got between 19 and 32, depending on these playoffs here.
Right.
So we got 2 in a row at 15, 16.
That's awesome, man. That's going to be huge for you guys. As far as whether you trade it for capital or what, but like you'll see what happens. But that's awesome for you guys. 3 first-rounders.
3 first-rounders. So, I mean, we overachieved this year. Build this offseason through the draft, and we have a ton of money here in this offseason, to bring some free agents in, sign some people. So hopefully next year we could be competing,
Right.
We'll be in that conversation.
Be a contender all year type of thing.
Be a contender all year type of shit. Yeah, exactly. But that's all that I have as far as the bias bubble this week. We can go right into crazy sports fact of the podcast.
Oh, yeah. What you got?
Barry Sanders rushed for 222 yards in the Holiday Bowl, and it would have lowered his average per game if it counted in the record books.
What? Because of how much how much he had every other game.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Apparently, he had, in 11 games, 2,628 yards.
God damn, in 11 games. Think about that.
And 37 touchdowns.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's averaging 238 yards a game.
God damn. He's a monster.
Yeah, Barry Sanders was a monster.
Running against high school
kids. Legend. But that's the show this week. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to go check out all of our other content on here on the channel. Make sure to go check out Sideline Sports, and make sure to go on Twitter and follow us at Squad Pod Sports as well. Trying to get to 1K, and then by the end of the year, hopefully get up to 2K. So we'll see how that goes. And we want to thank everybody for watching. We'll see everybody next week.